cutting instruments. We have your, of course, the blades, and then this one is your scissors. Okay. I think you know already what your bandage scissors looks like.
Yeah.
That is an additional for your OBGYN surgeries. But the usual that you'll see will be your, well, this, I think nag-review ka mo kay may mga libro, man ko yan. How do you call this? Your scissors,
Curved
which is specifically your
curved scissors.
curve. Your Metzenbom.
Oh.
Wow!
Orange.
Okay, this is what we call your Metzenbom, or oftentimes they would ask from you a Metz. 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 This Metzenbom is used for the cutting of your soft or delicate tissues. Okay, you. Sir John.
Surgeon.
Unsterile na si doctor.
If the staff nurse is preparing for the table, or if the student nurse is preparing for the table, or if the nurse would insist, ako na lang ang mag-prepare sa table, again, a reminder, remove your watches. You can stand by. Kung siya ang student nurse, kung staff nurse cobra, you can tuck your hands inside the pocket and not move.
Do not
Don't sit. You don't lean on the walls. You stand, putting your hands inside the pocket.
Or sometimes you can see them like this. Miss Beth, remember, we can see you sometimes doing like this. Gamit yung mga kuring, yung mga ido, ang ginaulat. As much as possible, if you have a pocket, you place your hands inside.
Or
Your knuckles
others,
inside.
muna yung sa table.
Yes.
Hindi kita siya. That's a no-no.
Or if there's no pocket provided for you, might as well place your hands here.
Or that
On
would
your
be the
tongue.
time that you raise your fingers.
Yes, pwede gid. Kung medyo manangatubang, which is also considered a sterile part, you can always do this also. Pero do kalaswa man na. Go back. Your cutting instrument. So your cutting curve instruments, this one will be used for your delicate tissues, your Metzenbom or your Metz. This one will be used for your tough tissues. This is what we call your Mayo scissor. I'm stressing. Ambok, dako, Mayo scissor. Okay? Your Mayo scissor. Okay. Now how do you serve this one? If you serve your clamp with the curved palm of your surgeon, now this time you serve your cutting instrument opposite the curved palm, baliskad. So that when your doctor cuts, hindi makat ang tissue sa dalong. Okay na siya? But then again, your doctors are not so particular with your scissors compared to your clamps. Your best friend would be a clamp. So proper serving of your clamp is very important. Pag may nakita, may nag-ooze or nag-spurt na dugo, automatically you give your best friend, which is a clamp. Curve or straight? Curve ha? You only give your straight clamp and he's indicated. Unless can usually, for example, mga appendectomy,
Or you
which
run
is
out
seldom
of
used,
clamps.
or you run out of clamps. But you have to declare or to tell your doctor, that's my last clamp, or doctor, last curve clamp.
So do not put your hands empty-handed. Always have a curved round on your hands.
Yes. And then of course you have your needle holder or needle driver. Okay, you have your suture here. And when you mount it, at least 1/3 of the whole needle holder. So this one's comic. Anyway, Miss Beth, you're going to discuss the different types of sutures naman in surgery, yeah? So we might skip that.
Ako na lang na.
So ang usual, ang niha, ang ginapaubragin sa inyo, and it's expected of you that most often you don't know, but as much as possible, as much as we can, we teach you. Okay. So you have the needle, for example, it should occupy at least 1/3 of the whole needle. So you have here 1/3 so that it will be stable if your doctor is going to do suturing. Okay, so when you serve it, serve this one to the doctor and the end you serve it to the assist. Okay? That will be for your needles. Okay, and you also have here your, how do you call this? Ovum forceps. Kita niyo kayo sa DR, no? So with a sponge on it, you call this your with a sponge on it, you call this as your stick sponge or sponge on a stick. Okay? In case the visit is already open, the sponge won't get lost. Pa niya? Okay. Now, we have here your usually nga nagagwa, usually ginaas. But most often, you'll get confused. So this one here, grasping instruments. The other one will be for your tough tissues. The other one will be for your delicate tissues. Now, this one is the ulo-ulo. Can you see that? Mayong pangilay, pagkabati ulo-ulo, Now, you have your bobcock. Bobcock. Some would spell it as B-O-B, and some would spell it as B-A-B. Bobcock. C-O-C-K. Bobcock. This one is what we call your alis. The unto-unto. Okay? Can you see that? Alis. Alis.
Okay.
Alis. Okay. Now, always remember, the ulo-ulo, si Chuy Bob may ulo-ulo, si Chay Alice may unto-unto. Remember that, because usually you get confused with it. Okay? Usual instruments, usual retractors for exposing. We have the U.S. Army Navy or the Army Navy. Okay? And you have your Richardson single-ended. Yeah, that one. That one is your single-ended Richardson. A little bit bigger than this one. Okay. Yes. And the next one is your rake. That is your rake retractor. Usually small sub-Q. And then you have your now that one is your malleable. It's a straight steel and it's pliant. Pwede mo balik-balik so that you can make use of that as your retractor. That is what we call your malleable or ribbon. Now the next one is your skin retractor that can be used for constructive surgery. Yeah, for constructive surgery. And for smaller cases, for smaller patients as well. And ang usually, this one, ang sa lower end there. Now this one, under the big C, that is what we call your deaver. D-E-A-V-E-R. Ano to, miss? Deaver. This is Justin Bieber. Usually ito lang deaver. Now the next one is your self-retaining retractor. Those retractors we mentioned usually that is held by hand or finger. Now this one is a self-retaining retractor that it can stay on its own. So that is what we call your retainer. And of course, this one is what we call your Balfour self-retaining retractor. The bigger one. Wow. But may alam pag bigger than this. Balfour
I wonder, di mo siya bumutang.
And then this one is your bladder retractor, because when you retract, it's usually placed here, ginapangilan is the bladder. And sometimes it's called this as also as your center blade, because it's placed at the center. And sometimes this is also called as your third blade, because you have the first, the second, and this is placed as your third blade. Okay, and it's usually locked with a screw. So with
surgeon.
Because it will be tied.
Yes.
2 gallon weight or 1 gallon.
Okay. So may instruments na bigger than this. If you're going to assist ortho cases, other specialty cases, there are different other instruments which are so foreign na hindi mo na matandaan na may pangayo kayo ka-doctor. It's not so usually heard. Okay? So you have to review and you might as well ask your CI before you start the operation. Okay na?
And these are the classification of your instruments that was discussed. It's there in your manual.
Okay. So you see the retractor, you see the cutting or dissecting. Cutting would include your blade. Remember, your center blade is not considered to be a blade, but a retractor. Correct?
Yes.
And you have your clamping or occluding instruments. You have your kelpies, your clamps. And then you also have your grafting tissue forceps or holding instruments, your Alice, your Babcock. Gets nyo? So use those signals ka doctor. When the doctor does like that, gone were the days, no, wag itang balala sa OR. So usually signals na lang na. When your doctor does like this, anong na pa kayo yan? What do you think? Wasay.
Retractor.
A knife
Oh.
for the skin. Okay? When your doctor does like this, what does your doctor mean? Suture. Suture. When your doctor does like this,
Dito charades. Scissors
your
lang.
doctor reads your
Scissors.
scissors. Gets nyo? When your doctor does like this, your doctor needs a
Forceps.
pick up forceps with
Clamp.
teeth or without teeth. It's for you to decide. Latahon ang area. Latahon ang area. If it's a soft tissue, you give a pick up forceps without teeth. If it's a tough tissue, you give a pick up forceps without teeth. Okay? Hala.